Go ahead, Greg.
What do you think the realistic chances are that you can make up your postponed games?
I think it's not realistic.
Yeah.
Well, not all of them, because I mean, I just realized we're missing 5 games. So I think it really hurt us being on that little pause that we had, because it was just 4 games in a row. So um, I don't think it's realistic to make up them all. I don't know though. Like if our conference decides to have a Pac-12 tournament, then definitely not for sure. But if they decide not to have one and to do some kind of makeup week, I think we can make up some, but we can't make up 5 in a week. So and for us, like I tried to make up one with Washington because we didn't get to go to Washington because of their COVID situation. So we offered to see if they'd want to stay here for an extra game. But I think some people probably don't want to make up with certain teams. So I think that makes it more challenging too.
So it's almost mathematically not possible to beat Stanford for the league title.
Well, it depends on how many. Well, yeah, I think because we're 2 games behind them, I believe. So I think it would depend on if they continue to play all their games. But that's why. So for instance, when Stanford played at Washington State, they stayed there and played another game. So we haven't had the luxury of trying to do that yet. We couldn't reschedule the UCLA game, and trying to do that to Washington, but they don't want to do that. So I have to figure out, is it worth trying to squeeze games in and playing 3 games a week? Like this week's a tough week. We're Monday, Friday, Sunday. So I don't know if we can do that for the next 3 weeks and then be fresh going into the tournament. So I'm not sure. It hurt us. And it hurts you think about the games we're missing.
Yeah.
Colorado, Washington, just teams that I feel like we could have won. So that's unfortunate. USC, those are 3 of the games we're missing.
Yep.
So it's unfortunate.
Go ahead, Ryan.
I mean, how important how big would it be for you to win a Pac-12 championship and beat a team like Stanford, who's been, at the top of the conference for so long?
It would be amazing. I mean, just because Tara is a legend and a trailblazer in women's basketball, so it would be amazing. It would be amazing because if you would have told me, "Oh, you're going to Arizona, and in your 5th year you're going to win a Pac-12 title," I would have said, "Okay, 15th or 5th." I would have probably laughed at you. So just to see how far we've come along, and it would be amazing because Stanford's just so good.
And so you guys play Washington State, obviously Friday. They beat you last time. I mean, what do you see as the keys to beating them this time?
Playing like we did in the first half. We had an amazing first half, and then the second half happened. If I could just erase the second half, I would have been happy. But just playing basketball like we should. I think the difference is watching film again last night. We are better than we were at Washington State. We are better than a month ago. Our offense is better. Our defense is better. So, but Washington State's a really good team. I think, when you first faced them, no one really knew what to expect. So they're good. They have a young star who's a freshman, but they're they play very good basketball. They remind me of a European professional team. So they don't have any freak athletes. Well, they have one inside, Bella, but they just move the ball. They take good shots. Everybody scores, about the same. Legger Walker is obviously higher, but everybody about that 10-12 range. They make extra passes. They're extremely smart. They're telling each other where to go, what's open. They make you pay for little mistakes. But if you look at them, you're like, oh, you think you should kill them. But when they play, they're good. So it just reminds me of a typical European team.
And they announced that the NCAA tournament is going to be in San Antonio. I'm just curious because the way it's working out now, it's like arguably the 2 best teams in Arizona history aren't going to get a chance to host a tournament game. Just what do you think about that? But then also San Antonio is still pretty close for you guys, so maybe there is still kind of a advantage there.
Yeah, but it's a huge disadvantage for a couple of reasons. We would have sold out McHale for multiple games. So it's even a disadvantage for us during the regular season because we would have had multiple sellouts. And I think that's kind of sad because it doesn't really feel like home court advantage. And then it's hard as a coach because then you look at the SEC and they have 5,000-10,000 fans and it's like, we don't have any. It's kind of like, I know the Pac-12, we're doing things the right way, but that's still sometimes hard as a competitor because it's a big difference having 4,000 or 5,000 people and having none and crowd noise. So I think that's a disadvantage. But in San Antonio, I think they are going to allow fans. Hopefully we can get some people to come down, but it's not the same as being in your home gym 5 minutes away.
Mhm.
So that's unfortunate for us. But the good thing is we're playing and we're going to be allowed to have fans. So I think that's the positive thing.
And what have you seen from Maddie Connor since she got on campus?
Maddie, she's just like a sponge. She soaks everything in. She's a tremendous shooter. She's got like she has personality. She's not afraid, so she's not like intimidated by anything. So she just goes out and kind of does it. And I love coaching that. So I think she's gonna, she's gonna have a chance to help us some down the stretch. Now it's just getting her into a system. Like she doesn't know our defensive system yet. So if she was in the game right now, it would be hard for her to catch on. But she's learning it. Like yesterday we had some skill work. She's picking stuff up fast. So I think in the next like few weeks or a month, I think she could help us. So she could probably help us in the tournament. She gives us another shooter who's a shooter like Puello.
Yeah, I was gonna say, what would be like the ideal situation to get her in the game?
I mean, ideal situation is, not in a stressful, obviously not in a tie game or something in the Pac-12, but if we had a lead at sometime coming up in the next few weeks, and it's not a stressful situation where I can play different combinations, put her into a combination maybe with a more experienced group, and just give her an opportunity. Maybe focus on. I would tell her, hey, these are the 3 plays we're going to work on, and practice that week, and then say when you get in the game, these are 3 games we're going to play. So she's not trying to worry about 10 plays, and then just can kind of ease into it. But I think she'll help us. I think I think the difference is when you coach some players, there's a distinct difference between a shooter's mentality. There are some players that are fearless when they shoot. And I feel like every team has that. We don't really have that. Like we have great shooters, like Sam's a great shooter, Helena Puello, but they don't have the mentality to like jack it up. Like if they're 0 for 10, they're not shooting 11. A shooter is like, can be 0 for 19, and that 20th is still like, it's a quick trigger, it's a release. Like the best shooters have amnesia, like the KD Smiths, the Diana Taurasi's. They can be 0 for 27, and that 28th they really think they're gonna make. It's such a different mentality, so they just let it fly. And I think Maddie is more like that. Like she has personality, she's not afraid. So she's gonna do well.
Jason, go ahead.
Yeah, hi, Coach Adia. How important was the recruiting of Kate Reese to the program? How long did you recruit her? And you had never had a McDonald's All-American before. How big was that for you to bring her to Tucson?
It was huge. I think having Kate, being from Texas, not too far, and just having a McDonald's All-American. If you look at, like, for example, Oregon has 5 or 6 this year. So it's just the level of what your program gets to. Going to a Final Four enables you to recruit those kind of kids. We don't have any except for Kate, and Lauren would have been a McDonald's All-American if she wasn't hurt. So just when you get those type of players in your program, it's good because they're really talented and heavily recruited, and usually are impact players right away. So signing Kate as the first one, and won't be the last one, was a big start for us, and kind of showed you how our program is. And now you can see it's paying dividends now, because now you're seeing the player that Kate has evolved to be. And so they're the ones that have started Arizona to become good. Because without them and their talent and them taking a chance on Arizona, we wouldn't be where we are today. So that I think our Derek, our radio guy, called them the OG3. I thought that was kind of cute. So the OG3, Sam, Ari and Kate, like no one believed in Arizona. We were like 300 in the RPI. And now to see where we evolved to be a top 10 team, we've been through 6 through 11 the whole year. And last year ended 12. Like no one would have thought that. But they did it. Like they believed in it. They, I sold them a vision without any proof, and they believed into it, bought into it, and now they're. Excuse the hair. It's not child abuse. He really it looks like he brushed his hair. It looks like child abuse. I do comb his hair. I promise. It's COVID hair, right?
Do you think she was taking a chance by agreeing to come because you hadn't had the success yet? How much of a leap of faith do you think she was taking?
A huge leap of faith, because I was selling a vision with no proof. Arizona hadn't been good in a decade, and I was saying, oh, we will be good one day. Believe in what I'm saying. This is how I'm going to do it. This is my plan. But there was no proof. And I think, just think about it. It's hard to just like me coming to Arizona, I was a player here. It's different. So I had a different tie. We were good when I was here. But just like recruiting someone, hey, we're going to be good one day, come on down. It's like, because players want to win. And players want to, I think the thing that separated Kate was she wanted to come and be an impact player. And a lot like Kelsey Plum at Washington, she wanted to come and like, she wanted to do it and put, the school on her back. And I think Kate's the same way, and Ari. They wanted to like do something special. And we've done it together. Sometimes Sam and I laugh because she's the last person left in her class. Like she came in with like 4 people and now she's the only one. And like she's been here and we were awful. I mean, Sam was playing the 5 for us when she first got here and the 4. Now she's playing the 1, 2, 3, 4. But I mean, like if you would have told us back then you'll be ranked in a couple of years, Sam and I would have said, well, I don't know about that. We'll probably be better if we're not ranked. And now look where we are. So we haven't arrived by any means. I think it's easy in sport to be good sometimes. But like, how are you consistently good? So that's my job, to recruit, to put a good nucleus together. And it started with our OG3. And then now it fills with better players. Now we have, we got Trinity from Florida. Now we have another commitment from a really tough Florida kid. It was looking at Louisville and all top schools in the country. She's coming. So now we have other really talented young kids. So we'll be better. Even if we take a step back, we're still gonna, keep on moving forward with the kids we're getting.
Thank
Go
you.
ahead, Troy. Oh, sorry, keep going, Jason.
Oh, I just said thank you. I might have one later, but let somebody else go in, but thank you so much.
Yeah,
Sounds good. Good. Go ahead, Troy.
So going back to the 5 missed games this year, I know you mentioned potentially making those games up instead of having a Pac-12 tournament. What is the consensus around the coaches around the conference? What's the temperature gauge there of what you guys would prefer to do?
Yeah, I don't know because no one's talked about it. I'm assuming. I think what it's typically is like if the men do it, we'll do it. So I think we're having a Pac-12 tournament, but I don't know. I'm sure. I don't really know how that works because I've never been in this situation. So I don't know if they're going to vote or if it's an executive committee. I don't know. I think the concern that I'm hearing though is about the Pac-12 tournament is, a lot of us have a lot to lose. So me, after being in quarantine and being contact traced, I get it more now because it just happened to me. And like, for example, if I lived in California, I would have been out 14 days. So it's 7 days was a lot in my program in the middle of the season, like to not be able to practice and stuff. So if I would have been in a situation, if I would have been Tara at Stanford or any of the California schools, they would have been out 14 days. So I think the concern is during having a Pac-12 tournament and something happens, you are kind of that now goes into this NCAA tournament, which is really important. So I don't know if for some people, I don't know if they think it's worth playing in the Pac-12 tournament because you're playing against teams where it's not as important. Like if you're facing a team where it's the end of their season, I mean, how serious are they? Like in Vegas, their season's over. They might be thinking about spring break. For us, we're trying to prepare for the tournament. So I don't know how that's gonna weigh in on people's decisions.
And then that last week of the season, you're on the road at ASU. I believe that's a Sunday game. So you have that whole week open. Has there been talks about trying to schedule games in that week?
Yeah, and for me, it's kind of been one game at a time because when we were on the road, a lot was going on just with the cancellation and all that. So for sure, I will for sure make up a game. It's just challenging because, like, let's say I want to make a Washington game or a USC. It has to be mutually agreed upon. So it's like I don't know if anybody really wants to make up the game with us. So that's what I kind of got to work out and see because I don't know. We haven't had a tremendous amount of success so far, and there's different factors. Like we have a longer roster. I mean, some people don't want to probably play early in the week and play 3 games because if they have 7, 8 people, it's hard. So I think there's so many factors. So I don't even know how realistic it is to reschedule all the games without the Pac-12's help. Because if I put myself on the flip side in other people's shoes, I don't know if I want to choose like Arizona, Oregon, or Stanford to make up the game with. If I'm another school, I'm gonna say, oh, I'll make it up with ASU or I'll make it up with, like a different school. It's not like on the bottom half of the Pac-12. That's probably what I would do because everybody wants to get wins, right?
Rich, go ahead.
Well, my question was for Buzz Lightyear, but he left.
I know.
I wanted to ask him a question, but couple things, Coach. As you're getting ready for postseason,
Buzz Lightyear's coming back.
What? Oh, is Buzz Lightyear coming back? Buzz Lightyear, which is your favorite Toy Story movie?
All of them.
See, that's, you know what? He's going to make a good coach one day.
What's your favorite toy in Toy Story?
Buzz.
Buzz. What else? You like Woody?
Yes.
Yeah, good. Okay.
Adia, talk a little bit about the state of women's athletics at the University of Arizona. Obviously, you in the top 10 growing. Mike Andrea's group gets going this week. Golf. I mean, right now, if you're looking around for some of the best women's athletics in the country, it could be right inside McHale Center.
Yeah, for sure. And I think some of the most talented coaches. Yeah, I've learned a lot from Coach Kendrea. He's just a legend. I hope he stays a lot longer. I don't know how many more years he wants to win, how many more championships, but they're really good. I think they could have won a championship last year. So, it's just interesting to see how it plays out because softball, just with all the players getting the extra year and transfers and stuff, I'm curious to see how their seasons are going to play out. But yeah, like in McHale, talent, our golf, Laura does a really good job, Coach Kendrea. And, I'm really excited about what Coach Fish is doing. I think that there's just a buzz around the Arizona football that I hadn't seen for a long time. I think he's just engaging on Twitter and social media. I think the fans like it. I think that so far it seems like it's a really, really great fit. I think his personality is great. I think that Tucson's going to really embrace him.
Is there a drive to make sure you keep up with the others because the standard's been set so high by some of the other programs, and you want to contribute, and that pushes everybody within the athletic department on the female side?
No, because I don't even think about that. I'm so busy and focused on what I do. I have a pretty narrow focus. I probably should think more like that. It's not even a thing to me. Like I aspire to be great like Coach Candrea one day. So I more think of it like if I can pull a few things from him a year, I'm going to do it, and it makes me better. I sit down, I talk with him, I get ideas from him, I run things by him, and I've used some of them in my program. Like my earned A is from Coach Candrea. It's his. I copied it, and I'd be stupid not to copy stuff from him. So I'd be crazy. So, but I don't compare myself because I'm never going to win 2,000 games. Probably I'm too old as I started coaching, but I can learn stuff of how he does it right and things that the experience he's learned. But I don't measure myself to anybody, or I don't do that. And it's also a unique year because you don't feel as like McHale's a small little community, but you don't feel that this year because of COVID. We're not really in our offices as much. So you don't have the same interaction you did. Like you see people, like I see Sean sometimes or talk to him sometimes, but you're not seeing people on an everyday basis. So the feeling's very different. But I think that Arizona is a great place with championship programs. I think, Dave has done a really good job, and he supports our programs. And I think the unique thing about Arizona is President Robbins and Dave support women's athletics. I think a lot of places there isn't support. And I'll give you another example. We're in a pandemic. It would be almost impossible for me to coach right now without charters. Like I have a newborn baby. It's really scary to travel. It's even scary to travel on a charter. And like they invested money and put us on charters. It is a world of difference for us. And I guarantee it's helping us win because our travel is like 90% easier. It is.
What kind of feedback do you get from your peers because of the support that you get from the athletic department here that might not be matched in other Division I programs?
Well, it's matched here, so I don't think it's really an issue because like we support all of our women's sports here. I think around the country, like my peers are all getting this support pretty much because of the institution. So like my good friends at Ohio State, they have a phenomenal amount of money and they have unlimited resources. If you look at my other really close friends at Arkansas, they're all on charters. So usually the Pac-12, we're not. So usually I'm looking at them like we don't have half of that. I mean, most of them overall, just because the SEC have probably like 5 more positions per staff than I do. So for what we have in the Pac-12, it is what it is. But I'm lucky that we're chartering. So to have that support, I am just so thankful for it because it's going to make a difference of how we feel and how banged up we are. By the time tournament comes, it's a world of difference. If you ask our players, they get more rest. They're way more comfortable. It is so no comparison. Like after the Oregon game, we would have normally been there another night. So we would have been on the road 6 days. And then we got back at 11, but they got there in bed. They didn't miss class the next day. So I think just travel has been a lot easier. Not every school is doing it. I think Washington State isn't Washington. And right now in COVID, that's very challenging.
Can you reflect a little bit about where you are? You know, every great team that wants to get to that summit has that spot where they're looking around and they're challenging the big boys that have always been number one, whether it's a Stanford or one of those schools. You saw it with a great example is the Bulls with Michael Jordan. They had to get past the bad boy Pistons before they could get to the top of the summit. A lot of people get to that piece, that part of the summit, but not many people can get over the top. Where are you right now, and how do you explain that to your team? This is when everybody gives us our best, and this is where we have to rise if we want to be in that upper echelon.
So it's funny you mentioned that, or you're asking this question, because yesterday I had a talk with the team about like the common trend around the country is there's multiple upsets. That's what it is. There's so many different reasons why this year. This makes a lot of things challenging. Like us, like being on the road, missing a game. That was a great opportunity for us to possibly get a sweep this weekend, which would have been huge. Normally we're getting our butts kicked in Oregon. But so that mentally is very hard on players. So my talk with the players was, okay, we just had a tremendous win at Oregon. It was a statement win nationally for us on ESPN. It was big. And we performed on a big stage under difficult circumstances, missing the game Friday. We could have been down and frustrated. We hadn't played in 2.5 weeks. So it showed we were a little rusty, but we found a way to get the job done. And so I'm so proud of the team. But it means nothing if we go and lose on Friday. Because, Friday, and I said, thanks to us, we allowed Washington State to be ranked last time for the first time in 10 years. So we allowed them to get some history. So don't make that same mistake again. Don't go have a great win and follow it up with a bad loss. So I think our goal is to try to take care of our home court advantage. And we lost. We lost to Washington State. They're a good team, a very good team that we respect tremendously. But we also know we played a first half great, second half bad, but they made us do that. So now are we better? Yes. But we have to find a way to get the job done on Friday and then on Sunday. And we learned last year, I talked about, we had a huge win against Stanford. We lost against Cal. So great teams don't do that. Okay teams do. And teams that aren't there, Stanford doesn't do that. UConn's don't do it. Louisville, they're more consistent. They win the games they're supposed to. They steal some other games. And I think this is uncharted territory for us. This is a different year. It's been a challenging year. Last year, we were better, but we didn't have the bullseye on our back. We were just arriving. People thought we were pretty good, but we weren't great. But we started being good. This year, we ended the season last year ranked number 12. This year, we've been from 6 to 11. And so now people know we're good. We're not going to sneak up on people. And so we've had to take people's best shots. And that's been a little more challenging. I think it's a lot harder in that situation, but I think we've handled it well. Our only mishap this year, we played awful against Stanford for sure, but our only slip up was Washington State. So I think now it's just taking care of business, and obviously our goal is to try to win out. We're taking one game at a time, but we want to win the games we can play. And I said they need to play every game like it's their last game, because we saw what just happened. We don't know how many games we're gonna have. We may have 5 games on the schedule. We may play 1. We may not play any. We may play 5. We don't know. We're blessed to be playing. So every game, it's like your last game, and they have to cherish that and not take it for granted. But to be great, you're able to do those things. You're able to maintain focus. You're able to do the job you're supposed to do. And we're not there yet. We're getting there. We're getting better, but we're learning what that's like. And this is like it's new, uncharted territory for us. And
Thank you so much.
Stanford's been doing that for 20 years. So Stanford's been doing that since I've been there. So it's a different standard and expectation. And once you've been through it, like an example for us is that I think Washington State's in a similar situation. 2 years ago, we lost every overtime game pretty much. Like it was a triple overtime, we lost, double overtime, Oregon State, UCLA. But then that paid dividends last year. Then last year, we remember that we had more experience in those tight situations. Last year, we won those games. And so this year, we're more experienced and prepared for that. Well, Stanford's been at this level for 25, 30 years. So they know what that looks like. The freshmen have that experience. When they're seniors, they've been through that same course for 4 years. So Ari and those guys, this is their first year having the bullseye. Like we don't have the same experience.
Tim, go ahead.
last time Bella had a great game against you guys, so I wanted to ask you a little bit about your inside players. Kate's had some times this year where she's got off really well and then 2 fouls on the bench and can't really get it back up in the second half. What does that do to a player to kind of have that break where they have to go to the bench for fouls, and how important is that?
Yeah, so it's very important. That's happened a lot to Kate a lot this year. I think we've worked a lot on her being in better positions so that doesn't happen, because the main thing is we need Kate on the floor. Kate is one of our most aggressive post players. She gives us a scoring presence inside. So it hurts us when Kate's out with foul trouble. And that happened a lot this year, more than last year. Some of it's a matchup, some of it's because she's guarding the 5 a lot. But I think the last couple of games, she's done a better job of being in better position, not getting those early fouls or not going for them, because then we need her on the floor. The first game at home against Oregon, she played pretty bad. Like, she wasn't happy with how she performed. So I love the fact that she was extremely motivated to play at Oregon. She wanted to play well. She's going against, one of her former AU teammates. They have we talked about how great their post presence is inside at Oregon. So she came out on fire and extremely focused. Now that's the Kate I expect and the Kate I know. And that's how she's been. And I think that foul trouble has really taken her out of rhythm. But I think she's a little bit beyond that. I think she's learning and learned a lot through film. Like, when you're a step late in the post, if you don't do work early, you get caught. So we talk a lot about doing work early, jamming the post early in transition, moving on the airtime on the ball so you're not caught behind and sealed, because those things make you foul. So I think she's been doing a better job of being proactive and just getting better defensively inside. And so I'm proud of the work. She's improved so much from a couple of years ago. And people don't think she can shoot the 3. So what they're doing is they're not guarding her. And I said, Kate, they're not guarding you from the 3. So I kind of challenged the post players with a little jab. I said, they don't think you guys can shoot. They're not guarding you. I said, so go show them you can shoot. So if you see in the game, Kate was shooting her 3s and she was yelling at me at the bench, who can't shoot? They think I can't shoot. It was I thought it was awesome. But she was like, who can't shoot? They better guard me. And I was like, yeah, they better guard you. But I kind of challenged them because no one was guarding them. So she went into the game with 3, and 3 made the whole year, and she made 3 at Oregon. So she was pumped up.
Go ahead, Ryan.
How's Bendu been doing since you guys got back?
She's good. Poor Bendu. It's been a tough year. I feel like every game someone's knocking her out or something. She's better. It was sublex that went out and back in, but it's not like she can raise her arm. And I'm gonna rest her again today, but she'll be ready to play Friday.
PJ?
She's lucky she has a lot of muscles around there. If she didn't have all those muscles, I think she would have been over. But if you guys have all seen Bender's arms, it's the arms I dream of having. It's like she's got all those muscles, or else her shoulder would probably be gone. I mean, it probably barely moved because of all the muscles. But no, thankfully she's strong, because she would have got really hurt, because I think someone ran right into her shoulder. A post player.
So Sunday, you probably don't want to think about this, but Sunday is really your last home game, which means it's senior day.
Yeah.
And again, you probably don't want to think about this, but you have a few seniors who will be walking and all of that. And, can you talk about, what is so special about Ari, Sam, and Trinity?
Well, I mean, Ari's so special. I've known her for so long and know her family, recruited her. I've watched her blossom as a young woman and just watched her evolve into this amazing player and amazing leader. And it's been fun to be a part of that growth. So I think for me, it's like a mom when your baby's all grown up, or your little sister's growing up and this amazing person. So it's been fun to be on her journey. And she has so many great things to still accomplish. So I'm just happy and proud of her. And I'm glad that I was able to influence her in a lot of ways. Like the talks that I've had with her in year 1, I see those things now, or I hear her say the things that I talk to her about. So that makes me feel good. It's like, oh, then, because sometimes you don't think someone's listening, and then they say it, you're like, oh, okay, they do listen. So I think those things are just make you feel special, and just proud of her. And unfortunately, I wish I can keep her for 10 more years. I wish she'd use this as a free year and come back. But I think she's ready to move on and ready to go play pro and probably make some real money. But she's gonna be missed in just so many ways. Not even as a basketball player, but who she is as a kid and a leader in the locker room. And just I really enjoy her. So those things, that's gonna be hard. And it's funny because the way the year is, it doesn't even feel like it's our senior night. It's been a crazy year. So I forgot it's our senior night. I wasn't even thinking. But yeah, so that's gonna be hard. And then Sam also, I wish Sam can come back. Sam's gonna have the option too. But she's gonna have her master's degree. Sam is like a phenomenal kid to coach. She is a leader. She is the type of player that if you say, "Oh, we got to be somewhere at 5," she's the one that's in the locker room reminding her teammates. She's the one if someone doesn't have the right thing on, she's saying, "Hey, you got to change. We're supposed to have the white shirt on, the blue pants." Like the little things, all the little things Sam does. She's like a perfect leader, a great leader on the court, off the court. She's a role model. She's our SAC president. She's someone who does everything the right way and like does it with class and professionalism. Just there's nothing bad I can say about Sam. Like if I can clone Sam too, I would. If I can keep her, I would. You don't think I won't be recruiting these kids at the end of the year? Not right now. I'm not talking about it, but I'll be recruiting. My 3 top recruits will be Ari, but I don't know about Ari's. I don't know if she wants to come back again, but I'm gonna still try. So Ari, Sam, and Trinity. Those are gonna be my 3 top recruits right now. Because for them to come back, it would be a world of difference. Now it would change our recruiting. That would be a little bit of a problem because scholarships, but you can actually have more players next year. So I would definitely try to keep them to come back. And then Trinity, I had a tremendous relationship with Trinity. I told you guys a story, but when I was recruiting her, she was like, "No, coach, I'm interested." Everybody around the country was calling her. She was like, "No, I want to go close to home." And so it was like she dumped me. And then I was kind of mad because we had this great conversation. She's like, "No, I'm saying I want to go close to be near my family." I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, that's great." I was kind of sad because we had a great conversation. So I was kind of mad. I told the coaches, "Wow, I thought we really connected, had a great talk. We were very aligned." And then she said, "No, I'm not interested." And then she called me back 3 or 4 days later and just wanted to talk. And I was like, "Oh, so you dumped me and then you call me back? Like, that's not cool." And then she called me back and we just talked. She didn't say I'm coming. And then she just said that she just had some questions to ask me. So I thought it was very interesting. It's never happened to me. And then there was no pressure. We just talked. We talked about my vision, what I think, how she'd fit, showed her some film, said, "These are things I think you can do for us." And she studied it for about a week. And then we talked more. She asked me a lot of questions, watched a lot of film, asked specific basketball stuff, specific culture stuff, and numerous conversations every day for hours. And then she decided to come. So I was really surprised. Everybody around the country was surprised because in the release of her transferring from Virginia Tech was to go closer to home. So everybody in Florida was mad, calling, "How'd you get her?" This and that. But she had never even been to the state of Arizona or the West Coast. Never been to California, Arizona, and just came here blindly. Didn't know any teammates or anything. Came because of our relationship. And I love her. She is I try to find kids like her. I really wish I would have had her for 4 years. There's nothing I question about her. She's more mature, so that's a given because she's a 5th year, but she works her butt off in every aspect. She works on her game. She studies with film, all the things she asked me during that recruiting process. I was kind of surprised. I was calling the other coaches "How come no one else does this? Our current players don't even do this." It was just a breath of fresh air, and it kept me optimistic that I can find players like this. She works on her game. We can be have skill work. She still is in there shooting every day. She goes hard every shoot around. She goes hard every practice. I've never once had to say, "Trinity, go harder." You don't have to say she's dripping sweat. I don't have to say that. I don't have to say, "Trinity, work harder." I don't have to say, "Trinity, listen." She looks you in the eyes when you talk. She's receptive to everything you say. She's tremendous to coach. She's like a breath of fresh air. I am going to look for more Trinities. And that's another reason, I like Florida kids. She's humble, and Trinity has been through a lot as a kid. But she's polite. She's one of the few kids consistently. Let's say we give out some Kyrie Irving shoes. All the other players, "Oh, they're cool. They post them, this and that." she will be the first one to text me and say, Coach, I really appreciate you giving that to us. And I'm like, oh, you're welcome. It like surprised me. I have to look at the text like, huh? Or like, for instance, we give them food a lot. So obviously we feed them all the time. She'll text me like last night, hey, thanks for giving us the red card. And I'm like, you're welcome. It's like random stuff where I'm just like surprised sometimes because like I forgot we did it because no one else says thank you. But the fact that she has the mindset and the thought to even do that. I couldn't see anybody when I first had the baby. She knows I can't see her, be close to her. She drives by just to wave at me in the driveway. Like, who does that? Like, she does it. So that's why I love her. I absolutely love her.
We got time for 2 more. We'll go with Greg.
Sorry, that was a long thing, but you see how I like her. So I could talk about her for like 5 more minutes.
Adia, is there a story about that painting on the wall behind you?
No, it's funny. I just loved it. It reminded me of like an Italian looking woman, and I got it like years ago. And why do you like it?
I probably wouldn't get it myself, but I like it.
I thought she was pretty, and it's funny because I have stuff like random stuff that this isn't from Italy, but it reminded me of a picture of Italy, and I just liked it. And it was big, and it's not like a fancy painting. It's not like some famous artist or anything like that. But I try to like collect things. I have random stuff from like all over. So when I played places, I tried to like collect small things, and then I just kind of put them around the house.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Last one. Go ahead, Troy.
So when you're talking about Sam, how she, gets everybody in line, directs people, do you see a future coach in Sam one day?
I do, but I don't know if she'd want to. It's funny. I think Sam like wanted to do certain things, but I don't think Sam's ready for the work world yet. I think she would have had a tremendous experience if she was at Nike. But I think the kids realize after they do some kind of internship or job, they realize how hard work is. I did that when I first started coaching. Mm-hmm. Like I thought, oh, coaching's this and that. When you first start coaching, like I wasn't used to working 14 hours a day. I just came from being a pro player. Like I took naps every day for 2 hours for 20 years. I remember my first coaching job. I was like, oh my gosh, 14 hours, like all day, 5 a.m. flights, recruiting all over. I was dying my first year. I was calling my players like Sue Bird and those guys that are playing. I was like, gosh, I miss playing. Like playing was so much easier. Then you look at your check and your check is cut in half. I was like, this sucks. Like when you're a pro player overseas, if you get $1,000, like you get $1,000, like you have all 1,000 here. You pay for parking, you pay for this and that, and it's like $400. So I think that was a big adjustment, but I think Sam could be a coach. She's going to be great at whatever she does. She loves it. She loves interpreting. She loves signing. It's like a passion for her. So I see her being a coach or like maybe coaching at like some Special Olympics, or I think her dad would try to get her to coach. I think she'd be a great college coach though.
All right. Thank you very much, Coach.
Okay. Thanks, you guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
This question is for Trinity. Trinity, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. I'm doing well.
All right. So I know you want to talk about it. Reaction to Super Bowl 55. Tom Brady leads your hometown Buccaneers to a Super Bowl. How excited were you? What did you think of the game? How was your Super Bowl Sunday?
Well, I was super excited. I wasn't surprised because I said it this summer when he came to Tampa. I just knew it. So I was super excited, and we watched it as a team. And me and Sam were going up against each other because she likes Patrick Mahomes. But I was just super excited, and I just called my family, and everybody was celebrating in Tampa.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
No problem.
PJ?
Hi, Maddie, and hi, Trinity. This one's for Madison first. So what has your first few weeks been like?
It's been awesome, honestly, learning a lot, trying to get used to the system, and everybody's been helping me out a lot. So it's honestly a great experience, and I'm super happy that I came here.
And how was your first road trip? It probably wasn't the way that you thought it would go with a couple games and you guys were just hanging out together in Corvallis for a while, but what was that like?
It was super fun. Obviously, it was different because we were there for 5 days and we only played one game, but it was a great experience. Team bonded a lot, got to know the girls a lot better. So it was a fun experience and way different than high school traveling and club traveling. So super cool experience, yeah.
Jason?
Yeah, hi. My question is for Trinity. What did you first think when you saw the bang the drum routine at the end of the game when you guys win?
Hi. I watched them do it last year. After I watched some of their games, but it's just super exciting. It creates a great culture. I love doing it. And every time we do it, Coach Adia is just looking at us like this is nothing compared to what it would have been, if we had fans. It's super quiet, and we're just clapping and looking around, but there's no fans to react to the drum. But it's still cool to be able to do it. And now that we have 2 home games left, it's starting to hit me a little bit. That senior night is Sunday, but I'm just looking forward to finishing out strong.
What makes Kate Reese such a great player, do you think?
Well, Kate Reese is very versatile. She can do everything, but I think just her will and her drive. She works hard every single day. She wants to win in every drill, in every practice, every scrimmage. So I'm not surprised about the game that she had the other night. I actually expect her to do that every game, and she's super exciting to play with. And I'm just lucky. I'm blessed to have her as my teammate because her will and her drive is unmatched.
Thanks so much. Good luck the rest of the way.
Thank you.
TJ, go ahead.
Yeah, Trinity, what do you think about Maddie's game and how she's coming along?
Well, Maddie has adjusted pretty quickly. Actually, Maddie is playing like she's been here all year. Actually, just in practice and scrimmages, she's very comfortable. Can score the ball, adjusting very fast, and it doesn't seem like she's just now coming out of high school. It seems like she's been here. So I'm super excited about how good she can really be, and I'm happy for her. She's doing really well so far.
That's great. And Maddie, when you first, went in the locker room and started putting on your, getting ready for practice, your first practice and everything, what was it like? And how, I'm sure these guys were all very welcoming to you, but was it really, this is what you've sort of dreamed of for a long time, to be able to be here. And what was that moment like?
It was kind of unreal. Like I really didn't it didn't register with me because it kind of all happened like in a week. So it kind of just felt like I should be there and kind of just had to get into routine. So I really didn't have time to think about it and kind of just had to do it and jump into the fire. So didn't really have time to process what was actually happening.
And what's been the favorite thing that you guys have done so far? Or, I mean, is there a favorite drill? I know that sounds funny, but in practice, is there something that you've really sort of enjoyed or learned a lot from so far?
Not like a specific drill or anything, but I like we play fives, obviously, just to see where I'm at and competing with all the girls, because obviously they're all at very high levels. So just seeing where I'm at and competing with them. So that's super fun to kind of gauge where I'm at. But yeah, that's probably it. I don't really have a favorite drill. Everything we do is pretty fun. So.
And what was it like to be on the bench when, you guys were playing Monday night? This was your first ESPN2 game. And what was that like? And then to have that big win in Oregon?
It was awesome. The energy on the bench was great. The energy, I mean, obviously there weren't fans, so it didn't feel like an actual ESPN game, but obviously the energy was super high. Everybody was super pumped and excited to play. So it was a great experience.
Thanks.
Ryan?
So Maddie, you were saying that you've been gauging where you're at compared to your teammates. I mean, where do you think you're at compared to them?
Obviously I have a long way to go. I mean, they've been at this level for quite a bit of time. So I think more of it is a physicality and pace type of game. Obviously, I mean, like I said, I have a lot of way to go, but I think that I just have to learn the system a little bit better and I'll be fine. I'll figure it out.
So during games, obviously you haven't played yet, but what are you kind of watching for? What are you trying to learn during games?
Just seeing obviously trying to learn the plays better and see what they're doing and how they see things, because obviously they think at a faster pace and level. So kind of just trying to see how they react to things and how they like read the defense and all that stuff. So kind of just trying to pick up the little things and just learn from those.
And Adia was saying that she thinks you can help the team down the stretch. I mean, how prepared do you feel like you are right now to step into a game?
I feel like if like the opportunity is brought to me, I'm going to rise to the occasion and I'll figure it out. I mean, obviously I'm a little behind because I just came in, but I'll definitely, I mean, that's what I want to do. I've been like faced with adversity. So that's kind of what I want, and I'll figure it out. So I'll get it done.
And why did you pick Arizona, and why did you decide to enroll when you did mid-season?
It was a great opportunity. I mean, we had like 10 like high school games left, and I mean, why wouldn't I? I mean, it's a great opportunity to play with some high level players and possibly an All-American. So I mean, why wouldn't I? It's a great opportunity.
And what did you like about Arizona when you committed to the school?
It was a family atmosphere. Obviously, it's close to home. I have a great connection with all the coaches and the players, so it was a perfect fit for me.
And Adia mentions your feistiness as a player, and also she said that you're the kind of shooter that even if you missed a bunch of shots in a row, you'll keep shooting. Where does that come from?
Just the hours that I spend in the gym. Like I know like I can make it, and I know that I can like fight past things. So I just have confidence in myself and my preparation. So.
Go ahead, Kim.
Trinity, Adia said she's going to be doing a lot of recruiting of her seniors. What are your thoughts? Have you been given any thoughts to next year and what you're going to do, or are you still just focusing on right now?
Let me tell you first, from the moment Coach Adia found out that they're giving everyone an extra year, she's been recruiting me since. So, but I'm just focused on this year, honestly. Not trying to get distracted or think about next year. I just live in the moment. But I haven't made a decision, yes or no, if I'm coming back next year. Just want to finish out the season, make a long run in the tournament, and see how far we can go this year. And then me and Coach Adia will talk about it after the last game we play.
PJ, go ahead.
Yeah, Trinity, the last time we talked, you said that, you guys really used that missing those 3 games during those couple weeks to your advantage, and you guys were really starting to gel. We saw a lot of that on Monday night. Where do you think your team is right now in your process of getting to where you want to get to?
I think we're much better than we were a couple weeks ago before we played our last game. But I believe it was against Utah. And we've been able to grow over these last couple of weeks when we weren't able to play games. Our leaders stepped up, Kate, Sam, and Ari, they stepped up and helped throughout the process. And we're just continuing to get better. I don't even think we're as good as we could be. And that just comes from putting in work every single day. So you're going to see a better team on Friday and Sunday, and hopefully it's continuing to grow. So we're getting better in half court offense. We take a lot of pride in our defense. We always been great at defense, but we're getting much better sharing the ball. We had 17 assists last game, so that's an improvement. I just think we have to continue to build on that and just do it consistently.
Thanks.
Ryan, go ahead.
Trinity, what did you learn from the first Washington State game, and is there kind of like a revenge factor going into Friday's game?
Well, I didn't really learn too much because I played in the ACC, and I know that when you have a big lead, 20 points, or that's not really a huge lead in a conference like this. So even we had a big lead, 16 points in the third quarter against Washington State, and end up losing in overtime at the buzzer. I just believe that once you have a team down, you have to continue to get better and never get comfortable. So we're hungry going into this game. Since we lost that game against them, we haven't stopped thinking about it. So I think that it's going to be a really good game on Friday.
And Adia was talking about kind of you as a person and how you're really grateful for like when you guys got some new shoes and things like that. I mean, where does that come from for you?
Well, that comes from my upbringing, just not really having much growing up. And my grandmother raised me to appreciate everything that you have. Even if someone, it's their job to help you and give you things, you always say thank you and show appreciation. So I just want to always show gratitude no matter what the situation is, or I'll never feel entitled to have anything. And so I'm just grateful.